Hey, welcome to day 2 of the Hello Fall Challenge. If you missed yesterday, don't worry about it. I will catch you up in a replay video that you can get. But for now, just to cover what we did yesterday real fast, we talked about personal brand mindset, how to change your thinking about personal branding. And we gave you a couple mantras, literally mantras to repeat to yourself because personal brand mindset is real. We have a lot of emotions and thoughts around personal branding. So it's very, very important to get our mind right about how to think about this stuff because it's serious. I'm telling you, we deal with it all the time. So, personal brand mindset, we covered that. And we also covered how to assess your personal brand, basically how to Google yourself, but also how to look at competition, quote unquote competition for your personal brand and how to assess them. So that was all yesterday. If you missed it, go back, check the replay. It's here on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook. You can catch it in a number of places. And there's some worksheets and things to go with that to help you out. Today, which I'm very excited about, this is really where the rubber meets the road. And by the way, let me know if you guys can hear me because we are live. And yesterday we had a little issue with audio. I'm pretty certain you can hear me, but I just want to make sure if you can hear me okay, make sure you say hello. Let me know what city, state you're chiming in from, something in the comments so I know that you can hear me all right. Bill Simmons, what's up, my friend? Hey, check this out. Hi. I love shouting out my people on live stream. It's really cool. So hello, thank you for letting me know you're okay. You can hear all this okay. So tonight, what we're covering is personal brand messaging. What do we say about ourselves? How do we say it? Very important. A lot of people get really stuck here. So the messaging piece we're covering, and we're also covering all the most essential elements you need for a strong personal brand. All the core elements. And that includes, in addition to messaging, your imaging, your credibility, content, and your target. It all sounds like marketing mumbo jumbo right now, potentially, if you're very, very new to this, but do not worry, I will cover it for you. Stephen from Hawkinsville, Georgia. Awesome. Thank you for joining on LinkedIn. I love that. Love that. Thank you for saying hello. All right. Okay. So we're going to dig right in, and I'm actually going to set myself a little timer just so we don't get too far off here. This is I love hourglass timers. Okay. They just make me happy. Yay, Erica Bates, the marvelous Erica Bates. So she is a marketing professional herself, marketing events and all that. So if you have questions, she can definitely help in the chat, I'm sure. And she's got lots of thoughts and opinions on personal branding, I'm sure, because Erica, you do a great job on your own personal brand. All right, let's dig into this stuff today because, again, I'm trying to keep us on time. Let's get into personal brand messaging. So thinking about your personal brand messaging, and when I say messaging, I mean, how do you really message yourself in terms of if you're going to introduce yourself in a room, what's that quick little elevator speech you say about yourself if you only have 30 seconds, right? A lot of us are in that situation where we're networking, we're introducing ourselves somewhere, and we're tasked to keep it very short because the room is pretty big, right? Very, very important to have that down in your head, some kind of thought around how you introduce yourself. In addition to just introducing yourself in public and in person, for the online space, that's really about what goes in your bios. What goes in your bios, that headline area on LinkedIn, your bio on Instagram, that little bio area on Twitter, Facebook, wherever it is, there's always a little space that very, very, very briefly describes you. It's so short, it's daunting, right? It's very daunting to try to fill that in, but it's doable. So I'm going to give you a couple quick action items on how to do this so that you can boil down your messaging to something that makes sense for you and your personal brand. And just know that this can evolve over time, right? But you got to get something down to start with. So first, start with one page. Just take a minute. Don't think too hard about this. Get a blank sheet of paper out and just write out everything you can think about yourself in terms of the value that you bring to other people, how you most help other people, what people come to you for. Think about those things. So fill up a whole page with that. Where do you shine? Think about where you shine. Think about what you're most helpful with. And think about the things that come so easily to you that other people tend to struggle with, right? Think about those things. Get it down on a sheet of paper, try to stick to one sheet. And don't overthink it, right? Just first thing that comes to mind, do that. If you get stuck, ask other people around you. Ask your husband, wife, family members, and ask people in your professional community, even more importantly, because they probably know your professional world even better. Some of these things about you, if you're stuck, it can kind of help. But just start with a one-pager, okay? Once you've got your one-pager, and if you're just joining, we're talking about personal branding and how to message yourself. So yesterday we talked a lot about how to think about personal branding, mantras and all that good stuff, and how to assess your personal brand. Today we're talking about the elements that go into making a personal brand. And that first piece is messaging. So yesterday we talked about competitors and how to think through competitors, which is hard to think of for a personal brand. You know, you're thinking of other people who are competitors to you. It just means people who are similar, doing something similar to what you're doing. So thinking about that messaging piece, write out that one page. And then I want you to take that one page and boil it down to a paragraph. 2 to 3 sentences, boil it down to a paragraph about you, taking the same information, but now extract the most important things, the most critical, important things about you. If you had to pull it out from that big page into one paragraph, pull out the most important things from that page. And now that you've got your paragraph, and I mean a succinct paragraph, not a 5-sentence paragraph, but 2 to 3 sentences, take that paragraph and boil it down to one sentence. Even harder still. Obviously, you're going to have to leave out a lot of stuff to get it down to one sentence, right? We can't say everything about ourselves in one sentence, nor can we say it in a paragraph. But again, it's the most important thing, the thing we want people to remember about us, right? So boil it down to one sentence. And then even shorter still, because we are in the age of short, short is succinct. So take that one sentence and boil it down to 7 words or less. And that, my friends, is more like tagline level. If you can get it down to a sentence, that's great, because that you can often use in your bio areas online. If you can get it down to 7 words or less, that's even better, because that becomes tagline level for you. And that becomes something you can start using on your website if you're going to get one, or just on your social media, on all of your messaging content you create. It becomes like a tagline for you. So if you don't know what a tagline is, think of like Nike, just do it. That's their little slogan, tagline. Slogan is another word for it. There's many, many words for this stuff. So. All right. So messaging, that's the messaging exercise for tonight. How are we doing on time? All right. Not bad. Not bad. Okay. Any questions on that? Please put it in the chat. Definitely want to answer any questions you might have about messaging. And by the way, I hope you had a great week out there. Those of you who were, I didn't get to repeat this yesterday because my audio cut off on me. But I was saying, for those in Florida, you are definitely in my thoughts and prayers. I have sisters in Florida. They went up to Alabama with my parents during this time. So, and I have clients down there in the West Palm Beach area and otherwise. So Florida, you are for sure in my thoughts and prayers, just FYI. All right. Moving on. So we covered messaging. Again, this is very, very brief, but this is why if you sign up for the Hello Fall Challenge, which has been scrolling forever and ever and ever, I'm going to take that off of your screen now. But if you signed up for the Hello Fall Challenge, then you get that information on your assignments and all that good stuff. And so all that gets explained to you in more detail. But today is just kind of introducing it to you so you have an idea of what you need to do. All right, so that's personal brand messaging. Moving on to some examples. There's 2 basic models you can go with. There's a I help blank do blank model on the left side. And on the right side, it's 7 words or less. So we talked about 7 words or less. So the I help blank do blank model is a really great way to do stuff like your elevator pitches and things that you need for little bios on social media and all of that. So a couple of examples here. I help thought leaders write great books in just 90 days. 300 satisfied clients so far. That little extra bit about 300 satisfied clients so far is compelling, right? Because you're already telling people that there's success working with you. So that's a good little add-on. I like that. Here's another one. I help manufacturing organizations improve their processes to reduce waste and grow profits. All right, so I help blank, do blank. I help manufacturing organizations improve their processes to blah, blah, blah. All right, so I help blank, do blank model. That's a good simple one to go by. And the 7 words or less, like I was saying, that's more tagline level, inspiration level. Let's build job-free income. That's someone who's like a blogger for new entrepreneurs. Let's build job-free income. This is a fun one. This is one of my clients, actually, Monica Rhodes, Think 50 Years Ahead. So she's a historic preservationist. She wants people to think 50 years ahead with regards to historic preservation. We thought that was pretty good. Real life on a budget. So a personal finance coach came up with that one. Like it. And another example, practical help for freelance writers. So that's an author who's giving out freelance writer help and tips like that too. All right. So that, my dears, is a couple of examples of, Reggie says yes. Hello, Reggie, on YouTube. Awesome. Erica and Reggie are on YouTube. So cool. So cool to see you guys. All right. So those are a couple examples of messaging, how that messaging, that one pager that you are going to do, boils down into a paragraph, and then the paragraph boils down into a short little sentence, 150 characters or less, and then even better, something that's 7 words or less. All right. So it might seem like a crazy little exercise, but I promise you it's well worth it to do. And again, this is why that exercise yesterday about thinking about your competitors and looking at how they're messaging themselves helps you when you get to this point, because if you get stuck, go back, see what your competitors are doing, saying, what their messaging is like, if any of it is any good. And then that might give you some inspiration for your own ideas. Clearly not to copy, just inspiration. Get the juices flowing, right? Okay. All right. So that is messaging. And then moving on, the next piece to know about is imaging, which is very important. I have a whole video about this because it's so important. So, and honestly, photo shoots are some of my favorite things to do with clients. Love photo shoot day. I love photo shoot day. It is absolutely the bomb. Okay. I know it's so old, but I don't care. It's the bomb. So, all right. So thinking about photo shoots, and this is critical because you might think, I'm not an influencer. I'm not whatever. I don't really need a photo shoot. I've got my professional headshot from 10 years ago. I still kind of look like that. No. Perfect world scenario. You're going to get professional photos at least every 2 years. At least. Because, and especially, and I hate to say it, but the older we get, the more we might change. And so you want to make sure you're current, you're up to date, and the photo that you have looks like you today. You today. So we want people to see the best of you that they might meet out and about in the street or otherwise in that photo. So photo shoots are really important just to stay up to date. But in addition to the headshot, which you're going to get, you definitely want to get some cool lifestyle photography, just because it's multiple uses. You get multiple uses out of lifestyle photography. So if you've got, a website that you're going to do and build, you're going to need different photos besides that same basic headshot. You're going to need a lot more photos for that. Why? Because otherwise you're going to be stuck with using stock photography, which we can do. But stock photography, I mean, people know that it's stock. It's much better when it's you, right? And it's you in the photos, and it's you being the person typing on the computer, looking up email, and it's you having coffee and laughing it up with your client, or looking serious or looking pensive out of a window. All these things that feel silly to do makes for great photography for your personal branding efforts. Trust me when I tell you this. So there's a couple exercises there that's going to be in your email today. For those of you who have signed up for the Hello Fall Challenge, what you got to do is look up a couple of examples. So as you're scrolling through social media, as you're looking at competitors, what you want to do is save images, save those images that speak to you, right? that you're like, oh yeah, that would look great for my personal brand. I would love a shot like this. I think a shot like that would work great. Just save a little folder as you're scrolling through and you think about shots that would be awesome for you to get. Keep in mind, and I know a lot of you, we have a whole video all about mindset around photography, which we do not have time to go through today because our time is what it is. But just know, I know already what you're thinking about your photography. I already know what you're thinking. You're thinking, I want to wait until I lose 15 pounds or 50 pounds. I want to wait until I get my hair done and this and that. Hair and makeup you can do any day. The weight, honey, the weight is what it is. And I would not keep putting off your photo shoot until you lose that weight, because chances are it's not going to happen anytime soon. For sure, not through the holidays and all that. So here's what I tell people who really want to lose weight, which is a vast majority of women in particular. The men seem to be okay with it. It's the women in particular that seem to be a little iffy about weight. So if you're iffy about weight for your photos, what I tell people is people are going to meet you as you are right now in the street with the weight that you are, and you're still gorgeous or handsome, good looking the way you are as people meet you. And you have to know that about yourself, because that's you need that self-confidence, right? So hopefully you believe that about yourself. And if not, I'm telling you that about yourself. So know that people meet you just as you are today with the weight that you are. And you look great the way you are. A list of photo poses will make a great lead magnet. Yeah, yes. That's a good idea. There's my friend Erica, by the way. And shout out to Steven, who was on earlier. I'm not sure if you're still on, but thank you for popping in. Okay, so yes, the photos really are critical. So think about the poses, as Erica mentioned. Also consider the fact that if you do lose weight, that is a wonderful reason to get another photo shoot in the future to celebrate it, right? So if you lose the weight, celebrate it with new photos, because you need to literally budget for new photo shoots at least once a year. In a perfect world, once a year. If you must, every 2 years. But budget for at least once a year. Twice a year is fantastic, because then you can get the fall stuff, turn around, do it in the spring, early summer before it gets too hot, do another shoot with different outfits, different poses. What you don't want is the same cheesy pose every time. Claire, hey ladies, thank you for showing up on day 2. You're a rock star. You're a super rock star. Thank you for saying hi. All right, so good to know that you're on. We're talking about photos, Claire. And so, again, I'm talking about one of the main things, and I said I wasn't going to dwell on this, but it's so critical because people struggle with this piece of photos. So if you struggle with photos, please know that I really would prefer for you to get your photos done, because you need something that you shoot today with great hair, makeup, ladies or guys, just your hair done and fresh haircut and a smart outfit, and maybe get a little facial or something. But the best you that you can present today is far better than a decade-old plus photo that hardly looks like you today. It just is. It's going to present better. You're far wiser, more sagacious, awesome, way more awesome today than you were back then, correct? Yes, for sure. So take the photos now, celebrate with a weight loss photo 6 months from now. Great. All right. So that's how we handle photos. Trey says, I guess it's time. Yeah. Hey, Trey. Yes, it is. Time to get those new photos. You had a nap. Okay, cool. All right. Cool deal. So that's photos. I will leave you with that. We won't get into like graphics and all that today. Call that personal branding 201. But today, 101, put photos on your list. That's all I'm going to say about that. Do it. Plan for it. Okay. Credibility is another piece. We a little bit touched on this yesterday, but personal branding and credibility go hand in hand. It's really, really important to message out, list out all of your credibility pieces. And credibility pieces for personal branders are things like awards, honors. You've got any books you may have written or articles that may have been published by you that counts. Any kind of media mentions counts as a credibility piece. What else do we have here? List out all of your educational background. Counts. That counts as a credibility piece. And then also, if you speak a lot in particular, Trey, Claire, I'm sure you speak sometimes, Claire, definitely Erica and others, what you definitely want to do is make sure that you get a media kit together. A media kit is going to be your best friend when you're speaking, because people always ask for all your materials, and it's going to have it all in one place for them. So that new headshot, every event planner is going to need a speaker headshot from you. That quick, short little bio, a little paragraph about you. This is where that messaging piece comes in, that paragraph that you wrote. Very, very helpful. You're going to need that. That's going to be in your media kit. So again, we don't have time to go through all that, but that is in the document that you're going to get this evening over email. If you haven't gotten it already, make sure you sign up at hellofallchallenge.com. I'll make sure you get this stuff. But a media kit, if you speak at all, if you do workshops at all, if you do anything along those lines, have a media kit. It will help you. And the details in that are in that document. Okay, two more things. So fast. Okay, two more things. We will get it in. Is content. So important. It's the basis of all this, and your target. Okay, so we don't have enough time to cover these in detail, and that's why this stuff is in those documents. But content is the stuff that you create. This is the stuff that shapes your narrative online, right? This is the stuff that shapes your narrative online. So when people Google you, like we did yesterday, we talked about Googling yourself yesterday, and many people are very underwhelmed by what they find about themselves online. Or else they see it and they're like, oh, I didn't mean for all this personable stuff to show up. I'd rather my professional stuff show up. This is your opportunity to reshape what shows up on that first page of Google, and also on the images page. This is why that photography matters. Images page and videography page, right? Content is what fills up those pages. So if you don't like what you see, this is how you fix it with the content piece. So a couple quick points here. I want you to focus on your strength area with content. Is it video? Is it written? Are you better at writing? Are you better at audio, speaking, but you don't really want to be on camera? Think about audio stuff. Or are you a speaker and can you get out in front of a crowd and speak? Okay, so one of those areas, you're stronger in one of those areas than the others. If it's video, if you're even remotely interested, willing to get on here as I am now, and I'm not even doing the best job in the world. It's Friday. My brain is like, oh, it's Friday. I'm this the weekend, and so honestly, my brain's a little fried, but but if you're even remotely willing to get on here and do something like this, golden. You are leaps and bounds above your competition, because most people aren't willing to do it, right? Most people aren't willing to do it. So if you can do video, honestly, that's the most golden piece of content you can do. If you can write, then you can also, and by the way, obviously video content types can go on YouTube, you can do Reels, you can do TikTok, many, many video formats available on several platforms. Written, if you like writing better, then you've got blogs that you can write. So you can open a free blog. It doesn't have to cost you money to open a blog to share your thought leadership, right? Serving others. So you can write a blog. You can write those long form posts that we see on Instagram. People do read. Some people do read posts. You can also do LinkedIn articles. If you're a LinkedIn person, you can write articles there. You could do email content. So writing out emails and sending those out. List building is a whole nother thing. We covered that in the Hello Spring Challenge. All of that can be available to you as well. Check out the YouTube. And then there's ebooks, among many other things. But think of all the different ways you can use the power of writing. There's writing, audio. You can do podcasts. You can do stuff like Twitter Spaces, which is like basically Clubhouse on Twitter, if you're into Twitter. But for sure, a podcast for the audio people who don't want to be on camera but love to speak, right? And then for the speakers, you've got obviously your speaking engagements, workshops, lunch and learns, all those things. All of that is content. real world and online, that you can do to reshape your narrative of how people see you when they first encounter you online. Okay, and this is how you start to reshape how people see you, and that is reshaping your brand. Ultimately, it's reshaping your brand. Okay, oh heck, we're out. Okay, let me finish up target audience. Okay, very, very fast, target audience, how to think of this. Think of a business and a target audience for a business. It's a customer, it's a client, right? When you're a personal brand, if you're not necessarily a business owner yet, your target is really who you most want to get in front of, who you most think you can help with your time, talent, expertise, gifts, all those things. So, and this is why target is so important, because a lot of people get stuck thinking, I am for the whole world. I am for the whole wide world. I can help anyone on this planet. While that may be true, there is someone that you can help far more than others, a particular type of person who's more willing to be receptive of what you're saying. Okay, so I really want you to think about who that is. So I'm going to use a client as an example who's a career exec coach. And so she could say very easily that my client, my ideal target is anyone who's in a corporate space. Anyone in a corporate world, anyone in the corporate world is my ideal target. However, that's a lot of people. So to be more specific, the more she thought about it, she was able to boil it down to who I really want to get in front of, because they could potentially hire me to do workshops or corporate retreats or whatever, is a middle manager or higher with a budget they control, a sizable enough budget they control, who plans corporate retreats in a B2B industry. That's a lot more specific than anyone in a corporate environment, right? And why this matters is, as you continue on your personal branding journey, you may get to a point where you need to advertise to specific people, or you need to speak to specific people online. And in order to be effective with your efforts, it's very important to think about who precisely you're wanting to speak to. You can speak to the whole world, but there's a far more specific person that you are more effective at helping. Okay, so that's how you think of target. All right, my dears, we are over time a little bit here, but thank you so much for listening. I appreciate you coming in for the second day of the Hello Fall Challenge. And tomorrow is the final day. It's an easy lift because it's Saturday, and Saturday is for fun. But I hope you use your weekend, just a little bit of your weekend, to think about goals for your personal brand. Because one thing I want you to get out of this is, what should be my goals for my personal brand? And what kind of high-level plan can I put together by, say, Thanksgiving to move my plan forward in 2023 and beyond? All right, that's the goal where I want you to think about for this challenge. If you can do that, you're doing a great job with this challenge. Okay, thank you, Claire. Thank you, Erica, Trey, everyone, Reggie, Steven, Bill, and everyone else I can't see who didn't say hi. If you're on the replay, definitely say hello on the replay. And I will see you tomorrow, my dears. Thanks so much. Cheers.